Episode 31. Mix pleasure with pain. In the realm of seduction, the conventional wisdom is that being relentlessly nice, charming, and flattering is the way to win someone over. However, Robert Greene's provocative book, The Art of Seduction, presents a radically different paradigm, that of strategically combining pleasure with pain as one of the most powerful seductive forces. The downfall of constant kindness. Greene argues that the greatest mistake in seduction is overwhelming your targets with pure, constant kindness and attentiveness. While this approach may initially soothe and attract, it soon grows monotonous and loses all effect. Erotic desire ultimately depends on the creation of tension and suspense. Without those dynamics, there can be no feeling of delightful release or pleasure. The lower the lows you create, the greater the highs. To heighten the erotic charge, create the excitement of fear, Greene instructs. Your task as a seducer is to actively stimulate a roller coaster of emotions in your target. Desire one moment, insecurity the next, jealousy, anger, despair, joy. It's this repeating cycle of emotional highs and lows that becomes profoundly captivating and addictive. The cruel tutor. Greene illustrates this pleasure-pain principle through examples like the Italian journalist Oriana Fallaci, who knew how to ensnare even world leaders like Henry Kissinger and the Shah of Iran. She would begin by asking harsh questions that touched on their insecurities, making them defensive. But just when they grew angry, she would suddenly shift to flattery, indirectly praising their achievements. This emotional bait and switch kept her subjects in lasting suspense, dreading her judgment one moment, yet unconsciously yearning to win her over the next. Without realizing it, they found themselves opening up and revealing things they never intended, falling under the spell of her alternating cruelty and kindness. The exquisite torment. Another striking example is the story of Don Mateo and Conchita from the 1896 novella Woman and Puppet. The young Conchita spent months tormenting the older Don Mateo through exquisitely orchestrated mind games, exciting his lust one moment, next making him feel guilty and base for his desires. She would disappear for weeks, only to return and rekindle his hopes. At times she pretended to offer her virginity, only to punish him with humiliation again. With each anguished low Conchita created, Don Mateo's obsession grew more feverish. When she finally did surrender her virginity, the emotional and physical release was cosmic. All those pent-up tensions utterly dissolved into euphoric bliss. The more exquisite the torment, the greater the pleasure in resolution. The erotic charge of pain. Why does strategically inflicting pain and tension create such a profoundly seductive effect? According to Greene, in our monotonous modern world, we often feel starved for real experience and instinctively crave violent emotion, even of the negative variety. The pain or anxiety you inflict on your targets, while uncomfortable, serves as a bracing tonic that makes them feel more alive. Perversely, they get a thrill from having something to react to, a chance to play the persecuted victim. When you then alchemize that pain into pleasure, the psychological release they feel is doubly powerful. The reassurance and care you provide after stoking their jealousy makes the gift of being chosen over rivals intoxicating. Validating their ego after wounding it is simply delightful. This effect plays on repressed masochistic desires that many of us have simmering inside without realizing it. Only when someone skillfully inflicts the right psychological pains do these yearnings rise to the surface. The seductive paradigm of highs and lows. Critically, Greene's techniques for applying pleasure-pain dynamics depend on subtlety and indirection rather than crassness. The idea is not to overtly abuse or inflict actual trauma, but to keep targets skating along a razor's edge of anxiety through cutting comments about their unconscious motives, stretches of punishing silence to goad them to revealing revelations, ambiguous judgments laced with well-timed praise. Ideally, you make your targets feel they are constantly teetering on a precipice, fearful of losing your attention or favor, yet unable to resist re-earning it. It's not overt harm or threats, but the anguish of suspense that torments them most keenly. As the French writer Stendhal mused, bringing the loved one too close to the terrifying prospect of abandonment and utter loss only makes them dizzy with heightened devotion when you pull them back from that brink. That dizzying erotic tension of hovering before the abyss is the source of the seductive thrill. A sublime seductive art. While conventional dating advice tells us to avoid conflicts or excessive issues that could push others away, Greene positions the measured combination of pleasure and pain as one of the most potent seductive arts. By becoming an expert orchestrator of emotional highs and lows, you can captivate your targets in a way that pure pleasantry and niceness alone could never achieve. Of course, these are sophisticated mind games that require keen emotional intelligence, carefully judged doses of hot and cold, and instinctive feeling for the dynamics of your particular target's psyche. Misjudged or deployed in a ham-fisted way, inflicting pain and tension can easily repel rather than compel. The seducer's skill lies in evoking just the right anguish and anxiety to leverage desire, while never overwhelming the target or causing real trauma. But when executed with nuance and artistry, making your targets experience these delirious alternations between neurosis and salvation can open them to depths of longing and obsession that insipid niceness would only thinly veil. In the terrain of emotional and erotic dynamics, combining the hot and cold, pleasure and pain, becomes a subtle and sublime seductive art. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, and if you found something relatable, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Now on to something crucial. Make it a habit to learn something valuable every day that genuinely benefits you. Remember, the content you feed your mind is like nourishment for your brain, so choose wisely. Be intentional about it. Otherwise, algorithms may manipulate your thinking. Consider that. Additionally, we're now welcoming contributions in the form of subscriptions to help fund our upcoming projects and provide you with outstanding content. Join us in our journey by subscribing today.